Baby Driver's out this week and it's got us all excited. Not just because it's the return of Edgar Wright, or the fact that it's an epic mishmash of film genres, or the fact that the soundtrack is so good it has not one, but 2 songs that are called Deborah. But before we get to that, don't forget that GameSpot of Thrones is back! Every Monday here on the GameSpot Universe YouTube channel, we'll be discussing the latest episodes and breaking down our favourite fan theories. You can catch the first episode, Who the Hell is Azor Ahai, right here, so subscribe so you don't miss out. Back to Baby Driver then. It's the story of Baby, who after a car accident suffers from tinnitus.
Tinnitus.
Edgar, please. From tinnitus, but manages to find work as a getaway driver for a bunch of bank robbers. But he needs to use his playlist of certified bangers in order to drown out the sound of his tinnitus. Stop it. Anyway, it's a love letter to music and that classic action movie staple, the car chase, which got us thinking about our favourite car chases in movies and how they were filmed. So here are our picks.
This is the Self-Preservation Society.
The Italian Job remains as one of the most iconic movies of all time, which is saying a lot for a movie that came out all the way back in 1969.
Nice.
Being the 60s and all that, I guess some of those pesky laws may have been a little more lax. Probably why the producers behind The Italian Job got away with lying to property owners and shopkeepers in order to get the shots they needed. In the movie, we see the iconic minis driving through grand palazzos and beautiful arcades, but not everyone who hired out their space knew that they'd have tiny British cars zipping through them. The Italian for machine is macchina. An Italian translation for car is also macchina.
Well, macchina is macchina. They didn't realise there were cars, and they nearly had kittens when 3 minis turned up, driving over their carpets, down the staircases and so on.
Now, while this technically wasn't a lie, it was a tiny omission of the truth. But then again, it resulted in one of the finest car chase scenes of all time, so I think we can let it slide.
Aluda Maka is a Tollywood movie released in 1995. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't never seen this movie, but there is a chase sequence in there that is so bonkers that I had to put it in here. Since I've never seen the film outside of short internet clips, I can't provide any context for what's happening. But you know what? There's a bit where the main character power slides a horse under a truck, which is just beautiful. Since it only lasts 40-ish seconds, we're going to take a look at this whole thing and break it down. It starts with a horse standing up and the main character, Sitaramadu, jumping onto the horse as it scrambles to get up. From there, the all-important car appears and Sitaramadu finds himself in a rather tough spot, with the truck blocking his path forward and the car bearing down on him. Naturally, you'd think the solution here is simple. Ambitious, but simple. Jump the horse over the truck. So, what does he do? Well, he makes the horse drop and then slides it under the truck. Then the horse, via some Tollywood movie magic, becomes a fake horse on a dolly moving under a stationary truck. Perhaps the greatest moment is how the car driver responds. Instead of coming to a stop to avoid crashing into the truck, he simply hops in his seat and makes the car jump over the truck, essentially doing what the horse should have done. Start to finish, it's an utterly incredible chase sequence, with some slightly upsetting animal harm undertones.
Trust people who don't think that Terminator 2 is one of the greatest movies of all time, because it is, and it features one of my absolute favourite chase sequences of any movie ever. It has everything. The T-1000, a recent student of the Tom Cruise School of Running, who then graduates to a bloody massive truck. John Connor there on his wee dirt bike, with the T-800, complete with the shotgun, bringing up the rear on a Harley Davidson. For me, this sequence perfectly encapsulates everything that's terrifying about a Terminator. But what I love about the surprisingly short sequence is how much thought had to go into it. You might not think a motorcycle jump would be so tricky to film, but when the bike in question is a 780-pound Harley, you're gonna have a bad time. 2 massive cranes had to be set up 600 feet apart from each other, either side of the bike, with the bike dangling between them on a 1-inch cable. Another crane had to be set up to pull the bike off the embankment, sailing 85 feet into the air before all the cables were pulled taut so that only 180 pounds made impact with the floor. This stunt even landed in the Stuntman's Hall of Fame because it was so tricky to pull off. And there's also the bit where Arnie twirls a shotgun while he's riding his bike. He makes it look so easy, but it's basically impossible in real life. Arnie had been practicing with a gun that had a modified loop, and one day he accidentally picked up the wrong gun and nearly broke all his fingers. So don't copy things that you see Terminators do, but instead, why don't you check out the mini documentary on how they made Terminator 2? It's on the DVD as part of the extras, or it's on YouTube if you don't have it. But it's seriously so worth watching, because that film still looks incredible 25 years later. That's why it will forever be one of my favorites. Dun 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 dun. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah.
What's up guys? You might not know me, but I'm Oscar, and as our resident Bond superfan, I've been promoted to 00 status to tell you about the greatest car chase in James Bond's history, the man with the golden gun. It starts with Bond smashing a stolen hot hatch from a car showroom in Bangkok. What follows is some fairly standard weaving in and out of traffic, chasing after Christopher Lee's titular Scaramanga. But before long, we get to the centrepiece. After 007 gains sight of Scaramanga on the other side of a river, he chooses to cross over in the only way Bond knows how, by twisting the car in the air in a spectacular corkscrew stunt, landing it perfectly on the other side. Although the stunt was performed to perfection during the first take, 7 test runs were needed before the cameras were rolling, and because of the precise weights, angles and speeds needed to make sure it was safe, it's even credited with being the first stunt ever to be calculated by computer modelling. But the Bond films are full of amazing car chases. You got the driverless BMW chase in Tomorrow Never Dies, the one in Casino Royale with 7 flips, with the most ever recorded with a live driver. Oh, and then there's the bit in Diamonds Are Forever where Bond's Mustang goes up on 2 wheels to fit through an alleyway, and then mysteriously comes out the other end on the other 2 wheels. And what about the bit in Die Another Day where he uses the ejector seat to flip the car over a speeding missile?
I said one car chase. You've done 5 now. That's 10 in total.
I'm sorry.
Go back to school. It's easy to forget just how much of Mad Max Fury Road was a car chase, but if you think back on it, that high-octane race through the desert was actually most of the film, and it was spectacular. In total, there were 140 vehicles involved in Mad Max Fury Road's 2 car chases, and according to the behind-the-scenes features on the Blu-ray, they were travelling at 140 miles per hour for 140 kilometers. Needless to say, that's a pretty huge production, and all done with minimal CGI. In fact, most of the CGI work involved in the movie was done to remove safety cables. Every single car involved in the chase was real, and even more impressively, all the crashes were real too. And if you think back to the movie, some of those collisions happening amongst the armada of post-apocalyptic vehicles were, to borrow some 90s parlance, gnarly, dude. I will see myself out. Fury Road also invented a new method for flipping cars, which involved a steel foot underneath the car that would essentially slam into the ground and launch it into the air. According to stunt coordinator Guy Norris, they had one car actually flip 8.5 times in the air. It wasn't recorded, but if it had, it would have set a world record. Take that, Oscar, and your stupid Bond facts. Mad Max Fury Road's car chase sequences are some of the most visually arresting and intense in movie history. Definitely not mediocre.
So those were our top 5 picks for the coolest car chases in movie history. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you chase your cursor down to the comment section. Leave us a comment, like the video, subscribe, all that nonsense. What?
Cursor?
Did I not say it right?
Cursor.
Am I gonna get loads of comments about my pronunciation of... Okay, whatever. Well, the comments from our Transformers video last week, Peter Parker said Transfivemers didn't work quite as well as Transformers.
Total Chaos 95 says, God, I hate Michael Bay, and I will not hear a bad word said about Michael Bay. He made Bad Boys, and that is one of the greatest action movies of all time, and I'm looking forward to Bad Boys 3.
Oh, shit just got real. All right, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next week, all that good stuff. Goodbye and farewell. What you gonna do? Bad boys, bad boys.